Woo!
Oh my goodness. What's up, everybody?
Where are we? Are we
There we
live?
are. We're live.
Live.
I'm on Instagram live too. I don't know if I think I can add you guys if you're on Instagram. I can probably add one or two of you.
I am on Instagram, but that's another whole technological
couple people watching.
thing.
So if you're watching on Instagram, welcome. Funny Sci-Fi is there. A couple people comment along on Instagram. Would love to have you comment along, and we could check you out there. And Rod Lippitt joined. Yeah, I can pull you up on this thing.
Nice.
Anyway, let's do the theme song, and then we'll explain to everyone what's going on.
We don't have a guest.
Hey Bob, let's get Bob, the author, the first slide.
Boy, I don't think I've ever started out. Here we go. Here's the story of some lonely fellows who spend way too much time watching the TV. All of them have jobs and friends. Well, not really. Just between you and me.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Howard.
They made a live show out of their hobby. Every TV watcher's TV watching dream. Jeff, Ron, Sal, and Bob, and there's Howard. They call it Crossing Streams.
Hey, Sal.
And then one day they went live on all the platforms. You could hear the people laugh and shout and scream, ah! Still can't find another word that runs your platform. And we cross the stream.
Everyone.
We cross the streams.
Everyone at home, too.
We cross the streams. That's the way we do it here. We cross the streams.
All right. So if you're live on the if you're live on the Instagram, welcome. Comment along. Love to see what's going on there. We're just testing it out. Hopefully you can hear us on Instagram. If you can, Scene Snob, just comment in the comments. Hi, Lauren Gold on Instagram. So this is Crossing the Streams. We're funneling in our live show, which is on YouTube right now and Facebook and Twitter, into the Instagram live, just kind of testing it out, seeing what's up. This is the show where we answer the universal question, what should I be watching? What should I watch next? This is where you come. This is episode 71, if you can believe it. 71. There are 70 current episodes on the YouTube channel. 71 as we speak.
It's a lot of content.
It's a lot of content. There's about 4 or 5 recommendations. Occasionally, Ron unrecommends something.
I go neg. I go dark.
Once in a while, but for good reason.
Which we feel is just as valuable, to be warned of something.
Yes.
Most recently, what was that Bitcoin one?
That was the Crypto King or whatever that was called.
Right, the Crypto King. Right, exactly. Yeah. So now avoid that one at all costs. Anyway, so this is where we talk about this. This is our original gang. We got the OG gang. This is
that's right.
Usually we have guests come and go and all that kind of good stuff. But this is the OG gang. If you're on any of the platforms, you can say, hey, hang on a second. You can say, hey, comment along. If you're on Instagram, feel free to shoot a comment. If you're on Facebook, any of those platforms, shoot a comment over. Love to see you. Love to talk to you. We got Eric Waldman.
Hey, Eric.
Oh, all the way from South Korea.
How are you, brother? I haven't seen you in a long time.
And Jerry,
we used to play poker together.
Yeah. Went to school together. All right, so let's do a couple housekeeping things. One, standing with Ukraine, as always. That's what we do here.
Ukraine.
Yeah, they're still fighting. They're fighting the good fight, and all the bullshit coming out.
My back issues.
Russia.
I'm sitting with Ukraine, just to be
You're
clear.
Sitting, Howard say sitting, standing, as long as our heart and thoughts are with them.
Ukraine. That's the most.
We're with right, and then we have just so everyone knows the drinking game. We do have a couple people drinking right now. So you have Jerry and Carmen put these rules together for Crossing the Stream. So if anyone on the show drinks, you drink. If we have a technical issue, drink. If we have to ask what platform or show we're talking about is on, drink. If we forget an actor's name, drink. If we put your name on screen or call you out, drink. So hopefully by the end of the show, you've drunk enough and frankly are fully enjoying the show. What's up, Anita? Comment along on Instagram. If
CRP has joined us.
CRP's
Oh.
joining. This is it's just an amazing time.
It's a who's who.
It's a who's who.
rogues
Wow.
gallery.
So let's before we get into the show, also on Instagram, if you go and you can look for that amazing piece of art on the Jeff DeWaskin Show feed, you'll see it. It's got like Darth Maul. It's got Bryan Cranston, Breaking Bad, Betty Page, and I can't remember who we decided the fourth
Mickey
person
Rourke.
was. Steve Rourke,
Mickey Rourke.
right?
Sin City.
So Jerry, super fan of the show, is giving away a free. Hi, Anita. Is giving away a free drawing, a 3.5 by 5.5. It's in the comments. All you have to do is go there and just type in the hashtag CTS show, Crossing the Stream show, right there. It's on the feed. I'll pop it into the story also, and we'll go from there. So that's fun. So that's something we can do. That's all April. So you got time to head over there and do that. All right. So this is fun. So last week on Crossing the Streams, we talked about the bubble. We talked about Guernsey potato thing.
Right.
I don't remember.
That's good enough.
Yeah. Mrs. Maisel and the Gilded Age. I shocked everyone by coming in strong on the Gilded Age. This week, we're going to talk about, we got Anatomy of a Scandal. We're going to talk about Tournament of Champions Season 3 on the Food Network. And we got Lennox, the Untold Story. Bob, not disappointing with yet another boxing show.
I can't help it.
And then Sal's coming in with White Hot, the rise and fall of Abercrombie and Fitch. Fitch, I can only assume he thought it was a rom-com and made a
Poster. Is
mistake.
that the
Let's
poster?
Hallmark.
Let's hope he thought it was a
a-
rock.
It was a Hallmark movie about
Right.
two young people that met at huts at Big
Yeah.
Rodeo.
Sally, I actually watched that yesterday, so
Okay, good.
I am
Chime
interested
in.
in your review.
All right. I want to hear yours after. Okay.
So, all right. So, did you guys see the Thor trailer, the new Love and Thunder?
Yeah, it looks good.
That looks really good.
Fantastic.
That looks so good.
I love the scene where he's still Fat Thor and he's training, you know.
Oh, he's doing like
And
the
he-
CrossFit stuff
Yeah,
with those
he's got-
robes.
yeah, they're like chains from like the Titanic or something. They're this big around. Ridiculous.
Yeah, that was pretty
Anchors.
awesome. Yeah, that was pretty funny. It looked really good. And there was that one scene where they're standing there over the kind of the dead skeleton giant. That's like right from the comics. That's like
Yep,
they
It's an
pulled
actual shot. Yeah, an
an
actual,
actual
panel
shot from the
comic.
comics, which is really cool. So, all right, so I'm looking forward to that. Let's see what people are talking about. If you're on Instagram, feel free to comment in there, and I will
Millions.
read you. So, what do we got here? Oh, Casey Ryan plot. Eric
Notorious CRP.
the notorious CRP. So we got to be on. Everyone's got to be on their on game.
Yeah.
Make sure we convince Casey Ryan Plot and everyone else, of course, to watch. So this is fun.
Can I just say?
I wish there was
Casey Ryan
I wish there was
plot
visual
twist.
on Instagram. What?
I just said Casey Ryan plot twist. I've been
That's a good-
longing
that's
to
a
say
good one.
that.
Oh, that'd be a good name for a podcast for Casey.
It would
Ryan.
be.
Yeah.
Casey Ryan Plot twist.
Casey Ryan plot twist.
All right, let's jump in here. Let's start. Hey, let's do Anatomy of a Scandal.
Yeah.
This is Ron. So Ron's
Yeah.
going to talk through Anatomy of a Scandal. Comment along as you're doing it, everyone at home. But Ron, take us away.
Wow.
You bet. Another of the algorithm choices from Netflix, sitting right there as the flag above the line for me. So every time I turn on Netflix, Anatomy of a Scandal is sitting there waiting for me. So sure, why not? It's a 6-episode limited series produced by Netflix, starring Sienna Miller and Michelle Dockery and Rupert Friend and a few other folks that you've seen around town. It's an English series that asks the question if love and privilege and being born of the right lineage can get you out of more scandalous situations that us regular people perhaps cannot get out of. And it's an interesting story. I have to say, first off, let me just say this. Sienna Miller. I didn't know Sienna Miller real well. I had seen her in the what was it? It was the American Sniper. And I remember her in American Sniper. It was a side role. It wasn't that big of a deal, so I didn't have any sense for her range. And she's a funny person because she is American but grew up in London, so she has that kind of that dual. She can speak American, and apparently now in Anatomy of Scandal, she's full on British, and it's a super interesting story. As she plays the wife of a parliamentarian accused of raping his parliamentary assistant, and what originally was supposed to be a case of him just having a little dilly-dally on the side that she was supposed to forgive him for, turns into a full-fledged rape case. And it is a terrific part courtroom drama, part story about can their relationship survive? Does she trust him enough to believe the fact that he didn't rape her? That it was very much a consensual relationship, which they go into great detail to show you all the reasons for why you should believe that this is.
So this was his second dalliance, and one that was being accused of being a rape.
Well, so it was a dalliance that ended with the young lady accusing him.
Okay, so one time he did it. And it was okay.
Well, it was apparently the dalliance went on for months, but the very last incident was considered a rape. So
one
anyway,
person, gotcha.
Right? So same person. But here's what's super interesting about the show, and that is that as the courtroom drama builds up. And I should also mention that Michelle Dockery, who you may recognize that name, she's in Downton Abbey and is the star of Downton Abbey. So it's funny, and I've been laughing about it with my wife, that in Downton Abbey she plays this monotone aristocratic daughter of an earl, and she just plays this stiff upper lip cold fish kind of daughter, and she does it very, very well. Now fast forward to Anatomy of a Scandal, where she is the attorney for the Crown prosecuting this parliamentarian for rape, and wouldn't you know it, she plays another stiff, cold, aristocratic. She may as well be wearing her 19th century gear from Downton Abbey. She plays the exact same character. It's hilarious.
Tremendous range.
She's So
I feel like everyone is on Downton Abbey. Like the one guy from Ted Lasso's on it too. But anyone British, Lily James, everyone seems to be on.
Downton Abbey, it has an amazing legacy. The organizational chart coming from Downton Abbey is incredible. How many amazingly big people have come from that show. But anyway, Michelle Dockery, not a lot of range. She does an okay job, I guess, playing this attorney for the Crown, as they say. But I was hoping for perhaps a bigger breakout role for Michelle Dockery to get away from the whole Downton Abbey thing. Not so much. So here's where, and I don't want to. Jeff, when you put something on,
I know
Instagram,
it's backwards.
It shows up backwards. Yeah. So here's the thing. The story builds into a full-on courtroom drama where you're left to decide, hey, is the guy guilty or innocent? And that's where, like I said, this is 6 episodes, but at the 4th episode, so you got 3 episodes left, 4th episode, they throw the dumbest, most ridiculous, outlandish plot twist that not only is impossible, but has nothing to do with the point of the story and only acts as a distraction. I don't want to give it away because the story is a really good story. It's a great buildup, and then they throw this plot twist, and you're left questioning everything because it's so stupid and insipid.
I'm already not going to watch it.
Right? So you get through the plot. It's almost like you're trying to get around the plot twist so you can get back to the actual story. But no, they do end up making the left turn because of the plot twist, and the show is frankly unable to recover from it. And I find that to be a real shame because they really had something.
Where's the name origin? Why is it called The Anatomy of a Scandal? Is that? I mean, what's the?
Yeah, well, it is the voyage of a ministerial family in England a Tory minister going through all of the elements of a full-fledged sex scandal in British society. And so they walk you through that, not just with the press, but with your friends, with your family, what it does to your kids, what it does to your parents, just the whole, and that's the part that's super compelling. Like that was a great part of the story. And Rupert Friend, who plays the minister, is just perfectly cast as this well-to-do, well-heeled British, aristocratic guy that believes himself above all of this. It's a great story that made an unnecessary turn, and I'm really sad for it because I do believe this show is good. I think the casting was excellent. I think the storyline up until that point was really compelling, and I really enjoyed it. So I would out of 10. Or maybe I'll keep it to sauce jars, Sally. Out of 5 potential sauce jars, I'm going to give this 2.5 sauce jars.
Wow.
Casey Ryan plot twist has been put off by your.
Right? I will just say this as a final remark about it, that I think it's worth watching, if you're one of these people that just like being able to dissect a show and being able to take it apart to its pieces, saying, hey, this really worked and this is where it didn't work, and being able to kind of comment on that level about a show. I think you would find the show very interesting because it really is. It should have gone back to the screenwriters, and someone should have said, yeah, that was an unnecessary turn. Is it a movie or a series, Ron? It's a limited 6-part series, each episode 45 minutes on Netflix. And I guarantee you'll very much enjoy the first 4 episodes. Okay.
Very cool. Very cool.
That's 2.5 stars. 2.5. I know we don't do half sauce jars, but I would, if it would have been out of 10, I would have given it a 5 out of 10, purely on the story and the acting. The acting's excellent.
You know what? The half a sauce is one of those little sauces you get with the crazy bread at Little Caesars.
Did you see? Did you see on Saturday Night Live the crazy bread? I know Little Caesar. I said pizza. I told him to say it twice. The guy doing Trump. The guy doing Trump on Saturday Night Live right now is probably the best Trump impression.
That's what they say.
It's uncanny how good it is. Like, it's so good.
Jeff, did you turn off your Instagram? Did that go away?
I turned it off. I was just kind of wanting to test it. So, very cool. So, all right. So, what do we do next? You know what? I feel like a little Lennox, the Untold story.
Oh, this looks good, man.
Strap in.
Love this guy. I do, man.
I've got some plot twists in this. There is a reason I chose this.
Oh, hey.
There's several reasons, but
other than it being boxing.
Yeah. It's timely in a number of ways, and you will find out as I unwind this story. I'm just going to say Lennox Lewis is one of the best heavyweight champs of all time, and one of the most underrated, maybe the most underrated when you think about what he did. I mean, he won the gold medal in the super heavyweight division in the 1988 Olympics. He won that for Canada. He was a guy who was born in London, the poorer part of London, and moved to Toronto when he was 12, fought for Canada. He is of Jamaican descent, very erudite, very well-spoken, just a really good guy too, right? Now, Lennox Lewis had the misfortune. Let me backtrack a second. Lennox Lewis is to Mike Tyson what Larry Holmes was to Muhammad Ali, which is to say they had the misfortune of coming right after 2 of the most fantastic and colorful athletes of all time. They started their careers, at the time that the other guys were blazing hot, right? So the other guys retired, and they were left being their excellent selves, but nobody was willing to accept them as being as good as their predecessors. But they were every bit as good. In fact, I think if Larry Holmes had fought, he beat Muhammad Ali, but that was, Muhammad Ali was on the downturn. But I would have given Holmes a great chance to beat Ali even in his prime. He was that good, but he was just such a sullen, kind of a jerk of a guy, that he was always upset that he thought the press was against him, and he just was not a really fun guy to be around, but he was an excellent fighter. Lennox Lewis, on the other hand, jovial, really great guy. Everybody loved him. Had a his backstory wasn't really interesting. Compared to like a Muhammad Ali's, but he came out in the shadow of Tyson. Nobody wanted to think that this guy from the UK was any good, but he was astoundingly good. From the moment he won the Olympic gold medal, he went through the heavyweight ranks. Here's a couple of things that you may not know about him. He was a two-time lineal champ, which is very hard to be. He is a three-time heavyweight champ. He won the heavyweight title 3 times. That's amazing. Most, in boxing, not just the heavyweight division, you lose the title, it's very rare you get it back. You might get a shot, but you lost it for a reason. He won it 3 times.
But when he won it, Bob, sorry to cut you off there, but when he won it those 3 times, who were the other big fighters in the game at that time? Did he win it maybe when things were in between Tyson and Holyfield and those other guys?
No, he fought Holyfield. He won. He beat Holyfield for the title. He beat Riddick Bowe. He beat Klitschko. Yeah, in fact, the names are just, he beat everybody in his heyday. And he had a couple of weird losses, just knockout losses that just came out of nowhere, but he came back and won and regained the title each time. And he was fighting in the shadow of Tyson. Tyson was, this is 92, 93, 94. Tyson was not who he was, 86 through 90, and then getting beaten by Buster Douglas. But in 1992, they fought. And this was the richest heavyweight fight, up until that time. And Lennox Lewis destroyed Tyson, just dismantled him, toyed with him. And the reason he did that is because Emmanuel Stewart, a local guy, the manager of Tommy Hearns, of the famed Kronk Gym, said to him, after he lost his title to a guy named Hasim Rahman, it was just a fluke knockout, said, "Look, you need me. I need to show you. You are 6'5". You weigh 230 pounds. Why are you toying with these people? Blow them away. Knock them through the ropes. I'm going to show you how." And after Emmanuel got a hold of him, he was a whole different guy. And he enjoyed beating Tyson. He carried him. From the very first round, he was just pop, pop, pop. He just cut him up. Tyson was completely out of his league. And people forget. Lennox Lewis is 6'5". Tyson was 5'8". I don't care what they say in the height chart. He's 5'8".
Wow.
He wasn't even 5'10". Now that's not short, but it's very short for a heavyweight. So props to Tyson for being such a brutal guy and such an awesome champion at that height. But so he overcame all those things, this personality deficit that people like to talk about, that he didn't have the brutal upbringing, and he didn't have the colorful thing. He was a Brit, and it was like, he was just polite. And everybody liked being around him. I met him one time down at Joe Louis Arena. It was when he was he was champ at the time, and Tommy Hearns was fighting, and it was one of Tommy's last fights, and he shouldn't have fought. And Lennox Lewis was ringside, and I had sweet tickets, and I went down and I met him, and he was exactly like I thought he was going to be. Funny, just like, "Hey, what's your name, mate?" And somebody told me you were a boxer. Yeah. What was your record? Where'd you fight? I'm like, what? Why are you asking me this? I'm an idiot. Let me talk to you. And I shook his hand, and his hand went halfway up my forearm. It's freakish how big these men are. It's not just that they're big. Everything is outsized. It's you when you shake their hand, you immediately know why they are heavyweight champ. It's unmistakable. So he went through his career just piling on the belts, piling on the accolades, and he did it. I mean, he's the quietest heavyweight champ, maybe of all time, but he did it all in a classy way. And I chose this documentary because I wanted to sort of mix it with current events. All right. His final fight was in 2002, and he defended his title, won the title, he defended his title on a 7th round stoppage of a man who is now mayor of Kyiv, Vitaly Klitschko.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Stopped him on cuts. Vitaly, it took 60 stitches to put him back together. I mean, it was like a scarecrow. And I mean, both of those guys, both of the Klitschkos, Lennox Lewis, just champions, just dudes, man. And they, and then and Lennox Lewis said, "I'm out of here. I'm done. I'm won enough money. I've got my health. I got my wife, my kids," and he never fought again.
Wow.
And people kept trying to get him back in the ring. He said, "No, I told you I'm done, man." He gave his belts up and said, "Sayonara." So a classy guy, and who started classy and ended classy, Lennox Lewis.
How much money do you think he made in his career, Bob? Do you have an idea?
I used to know. I think Lennox made something on the order of 120 million in his career, which is huge, but it doesn't even compare to what Tyson made 300 million.
Yeah.
Floyd Mayweather in the last 4 years has made 300 million after he was retired.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's crazy money, but it's even crazy. Yeah.
Side note of trivia: the Lennox Lewis against Klitschko is the featured fight in the first Ocean's 11 movie.
That's right. It is. That's right.
That's correct.
Yep.
Oh, that's funny.
Right.
That's good trivia. Right here on Crossing the Stream.
I did not know that.
Well, let's see what
Fascinating.
wait, hang on a second. Let's see what you do know, Sal. Let's
Whoa!
talk about
I need to know why you chose this.
let's talk about White Hot, the rise and fall of Abercrombie.
And I can't.
This should be a show. Is getting words in front of Jeff.
This is a big moment on Crossing the Streams. Jeff, get the tomato sauce jars ready. It's never been done on Crossing the Streams. I'm making my review final before I do the review, and this is why.
Oh.
I'm giving it 5 tomato sauce jars right now, and the only reason I'm doing this is because every single person in the United States needs to watch this documentary, and here's why. It's not about Abercrombie and Fitch. Abercrombie and Fitch is just a widget in this story. I hope Ron agrees with me. This is a crystal ball. This documentary is a crystal ball into what we are experiencing now in our today's society, with our social media, with racism, with diversity, with divisiveness, everything. This documentary has that, but it was in the 90s, and it's just all there. Let me explain. So Abercrombie and Fitch is obviously a clothing store. It started in 1892 with literally 2 guys named Abercrombie and Fitch. And then through the 20s and all that, it was just an outdoorsman type of brand. It was almost like today's Cabela's, right? And actually the first spokesperson for this brand was Theodore Roosevelt, the president, which is hysterical because of what it became. I'm actually trying to write a bit about this freaking thing right now. But so anyway, that's how it was. It was just a outfitters, fishing rods and that sort of thing. And then it was bought and sold. And I don't want to get into all that. But then in the early 90s, it was purchased, or in 78, it was purchased by a company called The Limited, which got into more of retail department stores. And that's when a guy by the name of Mike Jeffries took it over and made it that Abercrombie and Fitch that we all know, and a lot of people are probably watching know. And it just was based on sex. It was based on, obviously, guys with their shirts off. and guys with their shirts off working at the places. This Mike Jeffries actually was a genius. He knew how to make this about wearing this to be cool. And he did it by putting these hot models in the stores. The stores were crazy. I don't know if you remember going in the mall. I literally
I don't know, Sal. I never went in those stores.
I did one.
Yeah.
I did too.
I actually went in there and spent about 30 seconds in there, because when I asked the sales or one of those guys with their shirts off, I said, "Do you have a 44 long one of your jeans?" The guy looked at me like, "What, are you crazy?" But if you remember the stores in the mall, they had shutters on them.
Yeah.
Nightclub. Well, that was all done on purpose. And it's an interesting company, how they became so big, and they were big. And I know some of my coworkers here on the podcast know what it is to work for a company where your sales are just through the roof every month. I worked for a company that our sales were good, and when sales are good, the sales people for that company reap the benefits. And Abercrombie Fitch did it right. They almost did it. They are probably the first ones to do what like companies at Silicon Valley are doing now. It's literally their headquarters is called a campus, and they're from somewhere in Ohio, near Columbus, Ohio, is where they're headquartered, New Albany. And literally they showed their offices in the 90s, and good footage on here of just these designers and people that worked for the company just partying all night. They would literally stay on campus where their headquarters and just think of stuff to make, and guys were going out in recruiting models for their stores, recruiting ad people. It was so sexist. You can't get away with the kind of things that this company did in the 90s, and they just were getting bigger and bigger. And then the first little bit of cancel culture happened in about I think it was 2003. And they started making these crazy, I don't know if you remember, they used to make like these crazy shirts with crazy sayings on them. They were so racist. I mean, using Asian terms. I'm just repeating what was on the documentary, but one of the ones that got this Asian blogger to go nuts, and that's how the first cancel culture happened. One of the shirts they made, and it was one of their best sellers. It was just again, Asian demographics or Asian people on the shirt, and it just said, it was like a stupid thing about if Asian people had a laundry mat called "Two Wongs won't make it," or "Two Wongs will make it white." That was they had those on shirts.
So bad.
And it was so just unbelievable. It was just unbelievable.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Oh
and then one blogger.
I have one of those T-shirts.
And one blogger started it, and then when the floodgates opened, and that's what I'm saying. It was like the early signs of the cancel culture, early signs of having more diversity in our commercials and all that. So anyway, it shows all that. It shows the success of the company, and then it shows the kind of the demise of the company. And actually, it's still going on today. It's a smaller company now, but they just kind of cater to older people, and obviously they cleaned up their profile, and it took years to do that. But they're not as big as they used to be. I don't know. I probably skipped over a lot of stuff, but Ron, if you want to put your input, but
yeah. Well, so they
the malls too. That was sorry, I want to cut you over. But malls were huge in their success because, again, there was no internet. Now we just go to Instagram to see styles and all that kind of stuff. But we were going to malls and stuff, and that's where Abercrombie & Fitch became so huge, because it was such an event for 14-year-old girls to go to the mall and shop at Abercrombie & Fitch. And anyway, Ron, I'd love to hear your input. I think it was amazing. I think it was really something everybody should watch.
It's a super interesting documentary. There's no doubt. And you see it through the lens of today's standards and the whole, all of the social consciousness and the Me Too movement and all these things that are out there that you think how could that have been possible? But it wasn't that long ago that it actually was possible. They talked a lot about, whether they said it or not, what they were selling was exclusivity.
Correct.
Like they wanted you to feel like you were part of something that was exclusive. And they even went so far as talking about how the people that worked in these retail establishments, they didn't care if they sold or not. They didn't care what their numbers were. They only wanted them to be hot. Yeah. And the monthly reviews were not sales tallies, but were the managers required to list all the employees and basically ranking them on how hot they are.
Correct. Just incredible. Just crazy stuff that you
and that's how they decided whether to keep people or not. And there were no people of color. And they profiled this young lady, beautiful African-American girl, who the only shifts they would give her were like after hours to clean up the store when nobody was there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
the graveyard shift stripper.
Yeah,
right.
He ended up being part of the lawsuit that got.
You guys are making it sound bad, but let me say, when I worked there, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
When I was one of those hot models, making my way, I was recruited from Tape World, and
Postal.
Yeah. I remember.
Spencer's.
So first off, I remember very well the two Wongs will make a white scandal. I remember that scandal very well. But I remember before that scandal, they got in a lot of trouble with one of their catalogs. One of their catalogs.
That's right. I remember
completely sexualized children.
That's what it was. That's what it was. Yeah.
And it's funny. They didn't talk about that in the documentary.
They glazed over it just a little bit because they talked about the catalog, but it was very, very quickly.
They got in a lot of trouble for that catalog, and I remember they talked a lot about that photographer whose name, Sally, I'm blanking on, but there was just one photographer that did all of their catalog work for like a decade, and he was famous, but also a famous basically they profiled him as like a pedophile. And he would put these kids in just really tough situations, and essentially would.
And they're still around.
Them.
They didn't get put out of business.
They're still around. They're run by different people. Mike Jeffries left. I mean, again, this is when you couldn't come out of the closet back then. But he was a guy that was married, but he was obviously gay, just in the closet. And they actually I forgot the other guy's name, but they actually hit on a lot of the models, and I remember they had the one model on there. They kind of talked to a lot of people that worked at the company or were models, and this one model was like, Jeffries wanted me to come to his hotel suite and just to go over some stuff, and he's like, I'm okay. I think I'm just going to go to my own room, and he's just like, no, you need to come to my room, and I need to try something on you, and blah blah blah. He's just like, no, I think I'm just going to stay. And the next day he's fired. I mean, the guy just got fired. The next day. He's like, your services won't be needed. No reason, no nothing. He was one of the guys that was involved in the lawsuit. So real interesting documentary. I highly recommend. Again,
Sally, can I just say one more thing? They were talking about one of the featured writers who was writing exposés about Abercrombie, I think for the New Yorker magazine. She was talking about there's a concept that you can't burn too hot. If you burn white hot, it's not sustainable, right? Correct. And the whole concept of the exclusivity, they were talking about how that's just not sustainable. You can't. It burns white hot and then you die, right? And I kept thinking about it through the lens of social media and Facebook, because if you guys saw The Social Network and read about the founding of Facebook, that was also built on exclusivity. It was designed to create exclusivity amongst you and your friends and the networks of people
and the fire
that you connected to.
Yeah, I don't know. I forgot which guy it was. I know we're running out of time here.
No, you're fine.
The one guy, I think he was like a photographer. He said the moment I knew, it was almost like that Steve Martin quote when he said there was one seat in the back. It was almost that quote. The guy said, "I knew we were going to go downhill when." Forever, we were always regarded as the cool kid close. But in one of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans, they had a guy like you guys know that movie more than me, but the guy that beat up people, the bully, he was wearing Abercrombie and Fitch throughout the whole movie. That's when I knew we were going to go downhill, because the bully was wearing our clothes, not the kid.
I thought it was when they started selling 44 longs.
And that's what we call a callback.
Bingo, bango.
Well,
nice job, Sally.
All right, so I have a quick question. How long is this movie? How long is this Netflix movie?
About an hour and a half.
Yeah, it was an hour and a half.
Somebody's drinking right now. That's a question.
So,
Yeah.
no, I wanted to know if it was just one episode. So it's a one and done. Okay.
Yeah. And Jeff, I don't know if this was your point, but this one they use the time very well. It's quick.
Okay. Yeah. No.
They didn't
Yeah.
make
That
it
was
4
my next
episodes.
question. Yeah. Very cool. All right. That was awesome.
Nice.
I'm excited to watch that one. All right, but I'm also excited because not only do we have up next Howard Rosner, I just got to find. There we go. We got the Tournament of Champions
Wow.
3 on the
Yeah,
Food
and really seasons
Network.
1 and 2 as well.
Oh, and 1 and 2. So I got it. And here's
yeah,
Howard.
me and
Wow.
Mm.
Look at that.
So Tournament of Champions is obviously a cooking show. My wife and I are huge fans of cooking shows. We watch a lot of them. Not only that, but we love a lot of the celebrity chefs. When we travel, wherever we're going, we try and find some of the restaurants from the celebrity chefs. When I travel, I'm a big fan of Guy Fieri diners, drive-ins, and dives. When I travel, there's websites that show you all of the Triple D restaurants nearby to where you are, and I've been to probably a dozen, 15 maybe, and found some fantastic spots, like a Jamaican place in Arlington, Texas, like in the middle of a strip mall, totally nondescript, but just with ridiculously good food. So we love the cooking shows. I know we talked before about the Great British Baking Show, and that's a great show. This show is, to me, really unique, and in some ways the most pure of the cooking competition shows, and the most enjoyable to watch for pure competition, because it's pro chefs, whereas Great British Baking Show is so fun and lighthearted to watch, but they're all amateurs. Also, I'll say that I've met Guy Fieri on a couple of occasions. He could not be a nicer, friendlier guy.
That's good to know. I always thought he was going to be a douche.
No,
he looks like a good guy.
By the way, if you want to watch a hysterical comedy clip, go on YouTube. A comedian named Shane Torres, Torres. Just Google Shane Torres, Guy Fieri. He did a bit on Conan, I think it was, where he basically says, "What the hell did Guy Fieri ever do to anybody? Why do people hate this guy?"
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
I love his shows. His shows, those diner shows, are
Drivers
great.
Dine In and Dash.
Because he knows enough about the food. Anybody lets them do it. He doesn't. He he just.
Yeah, he takes a beating because of his hair.
He's not like a Gordon Ramsay, eh?
Yeah, no, not at all. But so anyways, the gist of this show is, for those of you who've watched cooking shows, it's professional chefs who've competed on a lot of those other shows. And if you've watched Top Chef or Master Chef, and restaurateurs around the country, they're I'm going to throw out names. If you guys aren't cooking fans, you won't know, but like the Voltaggio brothers, who are super famous on the West Coast, Minit Chauhan, who's been a judge on Chopped, and she's got several restaurants in Nashville. Brooke Williamson, who's from the West Coast.
Chef Boyardee.
Yes, Chef Boyardee. So the gist of the show is it's a March Madness style bracket competition where these chefs go up against each other. And what I love most about this show is it's not a reality show. I hate reality shows. And what I mean by that is Hell's Kitchen, Master Chef, Top Chef. You get the behind the scene footage of the chefs talking shit about each other in the competition. There's none of that.
It's like a green room.
Just right. Well, there's a little bit of green room stuff, but there's no drama. There's no drama that they're building. It's just about the cooking. So they're matched up. They're they're seated basically East Coast, West Coast. The cool part about the cooking, though, and what makes it so unique is the two chefs that match up. When they come up, they spin what's called the randomizer, and there's like 5 reels on the randomizer. It's a protein that they have to use, It's a vegetable that they have to use. It's a weird kitchen appliance that they somehow have to use, or kitchen tool that they somehow have to use as part of it. There's a general style that they have to use. Could be like, 3-course dinner, or, all American breakfast or something like that. And then there's a random amount of time that they have to use. And that's the absolute equalizer, because they legitimately don't know until they're standing there what they're going to have to cook, the style they're going to have to cook it in, and what they've got to put in it. And it's really unique to watch them think through what they're going to cook. It's a really enjoyable show if you like cooking shows, because it is purely about the cooking. My wife and I have been known to watch a show, especially a diners, drive-ins, and dive show, and be, holy shit, those hot dogs look good, and have to run out somewhere and get hot dogs immediately, or an ice cream.
You're always telling stories
shop.
like that, like watching British Bake Off and then
Oh, God, yeah.
door dashing cake.
Yeah, we've done that. We ran out. We were watching one time that was like an old fashioned ice cream, soda fountain, and we had to run back when we lived on the other side of town, and ran to a really good ice cream spot and got like old fashioned sundaes. So this is, if you love cooking shows, it is a pure cooking show. The competition's great. The judges all judge the judges are some of the biggest names in the restaurateur business. Scott Conant, who's, I just ate it, his scarpetta in Las Vegas was one of the best meals I've had in a long time. Nancy Silverton, who's famous. There's been some other top-notch chefs. Thomas Keller, I think, was on. French Laundry is one of the best, most famous restaurants in the country. It's a purely enjoyable cooking show that it's so easy to watch, because it's just about cooking the food. And they do some unbelievable shit off the top of their head in 35 minutes, making a ridiculous meal that you're like, God, does that look good? In 35 minutes, you're like, how the hell did you do that? The technique is incredible.
I always marvel at those people who make something out of it, because I mean, you have to have a pretty good depth of knowledge. I'd be afraid if I went on that show, they'd be like, okay, here's some chewing tobacco, a coffee filter, and a watch band. Now fucking go. You know what?
Yeah.
That's how I feel too. It's like I saw they had octopus, so of course I went with the seafood bouillabaisse.
Yeah, of course.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's great. Like one of the unique things is like I said, one of the randomizer things is the unique kitchen tool. So, for example, one of the competitions in this last season was a hot air popcorn popper. Like, what the frick are they going to make? But
what did they make?
One of the chefs used, really a hot air popcorn popper is just blowing hot air. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So they basically put a bunch of whole spices in it, and roasted the hot, or made the hot spices, so they became more aromatic.
Roasted a turkey in there.
Just blows hot air. Would have been cheaper to invite Ron.
Hey! Yeah. So it is on the Food Network, or if you have an Apple TV, you can also get Food Network. You can either go to Food Network TV, or Discovery, that now owns all those networks, has a Food Network tab on the Discovery TV tab. And, again, you can blow through them quick. And again, I just love that they don't try and create any drama or competition or shit talking between any of the chefs. It's just cooking, and it's really, really good.
Awesome.
I may check that out.
That sounds awesome. We should all take We should all do a cooking class together, and then we can invite the people from they cook with the stars, and they can
Yeah,
come.
then we can all go to Abercrombie and Fitch after.
Yeah. I do find it fascinating, like the whole idea, like, oh, it's, so I put in some sour to balance the heat or
Yeah.
whatever, whatever it is they do. And I find that so fascinating. Like, it's one thing that I would just love to know how to
what was
really
his
do.
name, the food chemist on the Food Network, that did all
Elton
the
Brown.
Oh,
Yeah,
Elton Brown.
Brown.
Those are
Yeah.
great
He-
shows.
those were
He
great
does-
shows.
I
He
used to be
does a
obsessed with all those shows.
he
All
does
of
a
them.
live tour. He does a live tour where he goes to.
I think he opens for Weird Al.
I believe it.
Have
He
you
does.
seen
He was at the Fox, I think, or the Fillmore, one of the two, where he does cooking and talks about
his original show,
Um,
Good Eats? Have you seen that he did follow-ups to a lot of the episodes from the 80s and 90s or 90s,
Yeah.
I guess it'd be, of Good Eats, of all the things he would correct based on today's cooking. It's pretty interesting. It's funny,
that's
actually.
cool.
He's
That's
a funny
cool.
dude.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
a good
yeah.
personality, and it was a fun show. That was
Well, Guy Fieri was, I think, if he wasn't the first, it was a reality show that the Food Network did that was, be the next Food Network star.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think Guy was either the first or second year.
Oh, he won that?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Oh,
won
really?
either the first or second year.
Wow.
You convinced
Yeah.
Casey Ryan Plott, so you got
Nice.
that going for you.
Yeah, it's
It's
really
no
was
Is
good.
It Cake, but it's a pretty good show, right?
I still don't get that. Oh, is this cake from 40 feet away? I don't know if it's cake from 40
By the
feet
way,
away.
this is Guy Fieri pre Guy Fieri days.
What?
Isn't
Wow.
that
Like Dicta.
funny?
Like Dicta.
It just goes
Yeah,
to show
like
you,
Teddy Bruschi.
it goes to show you a good stylist. It can do.
Yeah.
that.
Well, he
That
lost
was Guy
weight.
Fieri.
He looks
That's Guy
he
Fieri.
looks like the guy that was the skip on the U.S. Olympic curling team.
Yeah.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
They all look
Exactly.
like a bunch of hardware store managers to me.
Yeah.
The drilling team.
He looks like Guy.
Duluth,
no
Minnesota.
Fieri. He looks
Too
like
funny.
Guy.
Too funny.
But yeah,
All right,
again,
Yeah, go ahead.
He's such a super nice guy. He actually I met him the first time at
You're
Daytona.
looking pretty
and then,
cool there too, Howard.
Yeah,
Thank
look at
you.
it. He looks like,
I met him
Tom
the first
Cruise.
time at Daytona, and then the next time I met him was at Sonoma Raceway. My wife was with me, and I'm like, she loves him too. And I'm like, go ask him for a picture. She's like, no, I don't want to bother him. I'm like, I stopped him and I said, can my wife get a picture with you? He goes, you mean your daughter? My wife.
Smoothie. What a
Oh,
smoothie.
smooth. That's step
Wow.
1, too. You mean your ex-wife?
Yeah.
Next thing you know, she's in the Ferrari.
With
In the
Fieri.
Ferrari.
With Fieri.
In the
Fieri.
All right,
Fieri.
well,
Fieri.
I think we had a
Yeah.
great show, guys. I think we
Had a really
covered.
cool
Before we
Wow.
go, can I
ahead.
mention something? Somebody brought up Weird Al. Who brought up Weird Al?
Weird Al,
every
I
think it was
anybody
you.
did.
There's a biopic coming, and did I hear correctly that Harry Potter is
Yeah.
playing?
Yes.
What are they thinking? What are they thinking?
Oh,
Am
I
I
think
the
he'll be
only
great.
one that thinks he's just not a good actor?
He's terrible. I mean,
He was
you know,
fine as Harry Potter.
Yes, he's Harry Potter.
Yeah, I just haven't seen him.
Weird Al Yankovic should be played by Carrot Top. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Right.
I-
Not
I don't know.
Slytherin.
It just seems
Not
like a
Slytherin.
really
Hey,
bad.
I have one update on one of these shows that I did in one of the original episodes. Was the MMA show with Frank Grillo called Kingdom that I
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
absolutely love. It and at the time I said you got to watch it now because it's going off on Netflix. It just came within the last 2 weeks to the Peacock app. If you have
Oh,
Peacock,
Wow.
Yeah,
the whole
okay.
series is on there. So if you missed it, it's a great series.
Cool. Say goodnight, Howard.
Good night, Howard.
Say goodnight, Rob.
Good night, Gracie.
Good night, boys and girls.
Say goodnight, Sal.
SalDeMillia.com, Genetti's Hole in the Wall Theater, Sal and Bob Podcast. Good night, everybody. Miguel Cabrera, 3,000 hits tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
Say goodnight, Bob.
You know what? Check us out every month at Genetti's Hole in the Wall Theater, May 19th. And I got a bunch of shit one-nighters at the end of the month. Have
I'm
a
sure they
good
appreciate
night,
that
everybody.
plug.
Oh, they do.
All right, and I'm Jeff Dwoskin. New podcast drops at midnight with Monica Piper. Hilarious. Really funny story. She goes to LA and they're like, she's doing improv, and they're like, oh, we're going to match you up with this person to do improv. Robin Williams.
Wow.
Wow.
An unknown Robin Williams. All right, look for that at midnight. Thank you, everybody.
What a
And
weight
that
off
has been
unknown.
another episode of Crossing the Streams. Join us every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, live on Facebook and YouTube. Follow The Jeff Dwoskin Show on YouTube to be alerted every time we go live with your hosts, Jeff Dwoskin, Ron Lippett, Howard Rosner, Bob Phillips, Sal D'Amelio. We're all in the socials. Follow us. Listen to our podcasts live from Detroit, The Jeff Dwoskin Show, The Sal and Bob Show. Check them all out, and we'll see you next week and every week when we cross more streams right here. See you then.